don't take a Belfast wallpaper lightly. You should know that. Best girl. It was a terrible show, and I don't play the game, but Belfast is best. And this SMSL HO200, which was sent to me by Audiophile, which is a retailer that's like, hey, we'll send you things. Please help us. And I'm like, sure, fine. So they sent me the HO200, which I've done like a million SMSL amplifiers in the last 6 months, years, decades, I don't remember. And they're all black boxes. And they come in varying price formats, varying shapes, and none of them end up, well, no, I should say the SMSL VMV A1 is on my desk upstairs because it's so good. Because that's the Class A speaker amp that just happens to have a headphone amp also, but that's different category. But this one, the HO200, the HO200, very boring looking. Little shallow knob in the middle, 4-pin XLR, 1/4 inch, 4.4 Pentacon. You got, see these switches that are actually like switches? You know what they call them on the website? Let me tell you what SMSL calls those, because it's fucking hilarious. Classic retro toggle switch operation. That's a bullet point. That they have a classic retro toggle switch operation, as opposed to modern bullshit operations, which, you know what? I mentioned the Topping A90 and I mentioned the Singzer, and those also have classic toggle switch operations. You can see them here. That's fine. That's fine. That is not a negative thing to have old school. Just I want to fucking on. I want to go headphone amp instead of preamp. I want to do XLR instead of RCA, and I want my low, medium, and high gain done, and then turn it off. Blue LED, -1 point. But it's not bothering me, and the sound quality response out of this is gonna more than make up for it. Because this, I had to turn on the Singzer, I had to turn on the Topping, and I had to just do this a couple times between the three of them, because I think this is finally SMSL's entry into the like $400. That's affordable. That's an affordable headphone amplifier. That's not in the like the Singzer's 600 and the A90 is like 500. So this is coming in, and it should be that way because Topping is built really nice. Singzer's fucking fancy and they don't make much. So yeah, that's going to be the most expensive. SMSL's got like 2,000 factories with 20 bajillion employees. So the fact that theirs is 400 and it's fighting in the same territory as that makes perfect sense. This is the entry level into, wow, that's a really fucking solid amplifier. Holy shit. How much? Ooh. I've got it plugged in with a giant stupid audio grade power cable. Ignore that. I just did it for the lulz. It's like a $60. Look at it. Look. Please buy this and plug in your coffee maker with it so you can have Audiophile coffee. Just ignore it. But I'll link it anyway. I've got world's best XLRs going out. These are with Gotham cables. To the Fluid, what are you, the 8s? What the fuck is your model number? Anyway, one of the things that they were like, hey, can you please show off how good the preamp out is? And I'll mention this for a brief second, even though it took me a while to get that set up right and make me happy, and then move that over and move Belfast over so I can get it to like, just because I do preamp, and then a solid preamp means that you take your input, which is coming from this Sabre 3 by Matrix DAC, feeding this balanced and single end, again with world's best. These are the Screw and Eminence ones. To feeding it here, and then the job of the preamp is you have a fixed output source, which is the DAC, and it comes in here, and then it'll give you volume control. Even the cheapest $100 Magni amp from shit will give you RSA outs. Like you get your RSA ins and you get your RSA outs, and I don't think it's affected by the plugging, this isn't affected by the plugging because there's a switch, which is the way to do it. Shit. Charge $105 and add a switch, you bastards. So that you don't have to unplug your headphones. Just plug in. Let's go talk about the headphones I brought out for this. Firstly, I'd like to introduce you all to the actual factory HD 8XX drops with, I put the Deconi perforated on here, and then I've got the Apos flow cable. So this is like my perfect little world. And I've never owned an HO200 before because I never wanted to. Like, I have plenty of opportunity to buy used ones, and I just didn't. And I like the 8XX, no matter what anyone says about it. And I love it even more with these pads. And then you put me a wire that doesn't absolutely suck, and it's like, it's a perfect storm of enjoyment. So I've got those out. I've got the T60 Argons, because I'm like, you know what? Let's test this for power. Let's test T60 Argons. And then I tested it for power, and then like, well, fuck, let's try the Timsocks, which are like the $2,000 most neutral for Pentacon. I love this wire. I still love this wire. It needs to be unjankified. It's been sitting curled up for too long. This was upstairs in my office. And then I had taken down the Tigers because I'm like, I want to try something that's just 1/4 inch. And once I knew the power of this thing, and it only states 6 watts. Only 6 watts. But that's at 16 ohms. And I'm like, that's like when you're cheating. That's like the cheat number. 32 ohms is 3 watts. You can't use high gain on this fucking thing. So not even on the 880s, not on the Argons, not on the 880 600 ohm. You plug the 880 600 ohm in, and if we put this to high, which there is a mute click. So every time you switch between low, medium, high, it mutes and then clicks. Which, by the way, the high, medium, low does affect the preamp out. So the quality of, I got really distracted. The quality of the preamp is that it takes in your signal from here. It has to re-amplify it and control that volume, and it can probably do it better than most sources. So right now we're on high gain, we're on preamp for the fluids, the FX80s, that's what they are. And I'm literally able to go from off or mute, should be around 7 o'clock, although I could still hear it, to 8 o'clock, to 9 o'clock will kill you. So you do not want to be on high gain for the preamp out. And I lowered the input volumes on these from full to about half to give me a little more play here. Yeah, if I have it on low here, I can get to about 1 o'clock and it starts getting real loud. That's Glass Animals. Cane Sugar is what that is. Leocote Watermelon? Cane Sugar Watermelon. Why is all my songs and all my friends made of food? I have a friend named Cheese. I have a friend named Tofu. I have a friend named Sushi. Girl's name is Pasta. What is this? Is the world conspiring to make me fat? I think it is. It's got a very, very linear volume control too. That is just like usually a volume control, it's like it goes up and then it's this is just very smooth in the way it transitions. I'd probably leave it on mid for most things. Low doesn't get so low that it bothers me, and I was running a couple of these headphones on low. I think I could run the Sennheisers on low, but medium is sort of like... All right, we're done with that because that's copyright, and it's going to make this not monetizable, which it might not be already. Thank you for supporting me on Patreon and Subscribestar. And buying merch. I do have merch. I never mentioned that. On the mobile app, you could see the merch. But then again, it's also on that weird Teespring site that like has runs of things. Can you buy my merch? If you can buy my merch, just tell me. You don't have to buy it unless you really want to. And I'm going to make more better merch. Now that Chewbacca is a dear fucking departed friend of ours, there has to be some Chewbacca merch. There's always needed to be Chewbacca merch. And it sucks that I had to wait for her passing to like really be like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to commission artists to draw my cat with various headphones. Where am I plugged into? Well, I am plugged into 880s with the, I forget which pads these are. These are definitely Deconi pads. These are no, these are the Choice Suede because I have it written on there in a marker. So Choice Suede Deconis on 880 600 ohm. I'm at 2 o'clock, which is up there on medium, and this works. It's not every amplifier that'll actually work with 880 600 ohm, and I don't take them down often enough because that's all everyone wants. So just to spite you, I don't take them off the wall. Basement jacks, love is at your side. Aww. Jesus, the low end. All right, so 2 o'clock is loud. 3 o'clock would be like, ow. I'm gonna put it to high instead of medium. 10 o'clock is loud. 11 is ow. That's a lot of power. Like, it doesn't need to be on high for 880 600 ohm. It doesn't need to be on high for these. It doesn't need to be on high for the Tim Socks. These are all pretty relatively hard to drive headphones. Even the HO200s, which are not supposed to be, are just easily there. I maxed out medium on these. So you could run them on high if it's, but then that's noon is like, noon is loud. That's impressive. All right, so they pass the DT880 test. Now let's go on to this, which is a headphone that you probably haven't seen much of. Take it off of high. You probably haven't seen much of this because they're expensive and they stay up in my office, and I sometimes use them to do edits of sound demos because they're linear as fuck. But what the problem with linear as fucks is yes, they're great for assessing things, but for pure enjoyment, they needed a little bit of flavor added to them. And the most flavor I could add to them is the other SMSL amp, the VMVA1, the one that's linked in the description, the $660, 10 watt class A, fuck you. It literally, it has a fuck you at the end. It's silent. It's not written on any packaging, but when you say the name, you have to put the fuck you. And this amp, which is a completely different lineage, because if you go back to the Aoshida site and you scroll, you'll eventually get to this parameters thing, and the numbers don't scream fun, you know, listenable, like warm amp. They scream 0.00006 total harmonic distortion. And a frequency response, and I've never, this is a ballsy number, of 20 hertz, which is, you know, the bass, to 500,000 hertz with negative 3 dB, which means the variation, if it was like, if it dipped down a lot, it would be -6 or 5. But this fucking thing claims, I don't know who would measure it that high, by the way, to be completely flat all the way past 20,000 hertz, which is what you can hear, all the way past 50,000 hertz, which is what dogs can hear, all the way up to fucking 500,000 hertz, which I'm not even sure if, like, Russian submarines can hear that. That's just like, the thought of it, like mosquitoes in radioactive fallout probably can't hear 500,000 hertz. But they're flat to that, if it claims that. Power consumption, 30 watts. That's a lot of power consumption, honestly, for an amp like this, especially putting out 6. So there's a lot going into it. It doesn't get very warm. I've had it on now for a few hours, and it's just like barely warmer than room temperature, which kind of like the topping. The Singzer does get warm. The Singzer is more class A-ish. This has nothing about what class it is. Nowhere on this does it say what it is, but I could tell you it's not class A because you can't achieve, you know, 0.000 anything and produce that sort of power. You're going to get a little bit more. Where's the crosstalk? Oh, I love that the output impedance is just near 0 ohms. They don't even give you a number. They didn't want to fucking confuse you. Standby, blah, 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 blah. There was another, oh God, too big, less big. It's just numbers and 140 dB signal to noise. 141, I'm sorry. Nearly 141 on all of them. And it's got fully balanced for ultra low, distortion as low as blah, 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 blah. It's got the numbers that scream it wants to be linear, purely linear. The problem is, I know what purely linear sounds like, and purely linear sounds boring. And that's what I was worried this was going to be, because the numbers exist. But listening to it with various headphones, including the ones on my head, it's got a smoothness to it, which that doesn't make any sense to me as a Zeos, not a reviewer, as a Zeos. Because Zeos knows that if it's just a headphone amp, it's just got to do a headphone amp job. Just like all DACs sound the same. All headphone amps that measure the same should sound the same. But It like cleans up the sound on all these hard to drive headphones. Just all of them. If I put it to low, it will, I think I put one set of IMs onto it because I just was like, all right, I'm going to test an IM with this. And it was perfectly linear. Like, no channel imbalance, on low gain, handled it fine. But then you put on the real headphones. It's just a big, warm puppy bear. But not warm. That's the thing. I don't want to say it's warm. It's not warm. It's not Class A warm. It's not like Burson warm. It's clean, but in a pleasing way. And that's all I want. Because 789, all the THX stuff has sort of become like last year. It's like, all right, it is as clean as it can get. Absolutely clean, linear, perfectly sterile. You have testicles? Not anymore. You don't. You listen to 789 for too long. You're sterile now. It's just a beautiful line to determine what things. That is the farthest you can go. And then the A90 taught me that you can be clean and linear and neutral and not sterile. Have a little bit of something going for you. And the next time I heard that from the A90 was like the other little topping, like the little L30, whatever it was. And then the Singer came out, which is Class A bias. And that's like that like really fucking fucks with things. Because you got the the jumpers on the inside, you can put it to make it more linear, but I'm like, no. I want it to be more creamy. And this is sort of leaning more towards Singer than A90. Yet can post all those numbers, if we believe all those numbers. Like, I know it's not bass boosting, but the low end, which is the part that's hard to make happen, is perfect on all these headphones. It just comes across beautifully. Switch off of this. Get to you last. I like you, Sully. I'll kill you last. Now, again, we are not on high. 12 noon, balanced out. This is maximum potential argon. This is, I need to sell argon somewhere. This amp will do just fine for $400. So we're just looking at the price for this sort of performance dropping, so that next year it'll be $300 or $250, and the year after that there'll be something else that comes out that's like no. Clean was last year. Now we just have it's running on diesel fumes. Daniel Pemberton, Circular Story from The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which is a good movie, by the way. Yeah, no, I didn't think I'd have to spend 4.5 hours listening to this before I started the review, but I kind of did, because I kept putting on music, and then I was like, oh man, I just listened to music on it. Just listen to music. It's been, since the Chewbacca incident, I haven't really sat down to listen to music, so it could be a little bit biased just from being away for so long and finally getting back into the groove of like, hey, music is fun. My job is great. Let's do some of that. And I really need to do more reviews tonight than one, but I just wanted to play with like every headphone on earth. I didn't bring the Poseidons down. I was going to bring the Poseidons into this, but I'm like, stay. Other things need the limelight. I want to listen to the Prodigy, Get Up, Get Off. I want to listen to the whole song. It sucks that I have to stop and then like, why am I recording this? Stop this fucking thing and just keep listening to this headphone amp. This will probably end up there. It's one of, like, a lot of other amps, like I get anything from the SU series, and it's like SU9, SU9. They're black, and I despise the fact that they just always send me the black one. Give me some color. Give me some silver. Maybe someone could drop it accidentally in a paint bin and give me something that's more exciting. Because this is not an exciting looking amplifier. It's the least exciting. In fact, it's probably the least exciting looking amplifier that I have. But it fucking doesn't sound like that. Let me see if I can flip the back of this over without killing everyone. Oh God, I can't. I used too many thick wires. This was a Zeos problem. It's XLR and RCA in, and then XLR and RCA out. So I could actually hook up a sub too if I wanted to, and then just balance between them. Balance the sub to those, and then have the volume control do that. So when I switch here. There is a main bus power switch in the back, a big one. But shit, and who else has it on the back? Rebel Amp, and you guys are all okay, right? Yeah, you guys are all... Another reason this can go in the fucking rack and other ones can't is because it's got a main power bus switch in the back that shuts off 110 to the whole unit, or there's just an off switch in the front. Because it's convenient, motherfuckers. Put it on the goddamn amps. 1,000. 2 seconds to turn on. No long. There's some of these amps you turn on and it's like a 12-second, like, hold on. Got to build up the emotional fucking strength to put out music. Hold. Click. Okay, there you go. No, just 2 seconds, please. Just, and there's not really any warm-up that's needed because that's not Class A. It's just going to turn on. It's going to go through its safety checks and then put on Prodigy. Frankie goes to Hollywood. 2 Tribes, keep the peace. From the 2 Tribes, singlet. Is singlet a word? Is singlet ever been a word? Is that a thing that... The fuck is that? Is that a smaller single? I have no issue with the way that the preamp works. It does a beautiful job linearly controlling it, and I don't hear any sort of breakup, although I've never had these speakers here before. Like, I basically would need to have set up a permanent set of speakers in this area so that I could do sort of preamp testing, that I know how those should react to everything, and then I can control. It's kind of like when you drive the Top Gear test track, but you're the first person, and no one knows if it's a good time or not. You gotta wait till a couple more step in. So this is gonna stay here for a little bit, probably for a week. I got gaps behind them where the old M300s were, the Swans that I pulled out and stuck to my ceiling. So these won't fit in those holes. And the Mark IIs I think are wider, so they won't fit in those holes unless I start scooting things, which I may have to do. But then again, I also want to take the Mark II M300s and use them again. Oblivion Starwaves, by the way. Yeah, so let's get back to headphone amp. Unplug these. Plug in these, which are the newest of the group. Yeah, it just says 8XX on top. At least the feel of them is not as terrible as it was, especially with these new pads. Let's try low. Yeah, I can go to 2 o'clock on low, and these work fine. Better than fine. They work exceptionally well. Now, how much of this is to the benefit of the $3,000 DAC/music streamer that I'm plugged into? 4%. I'll give it 4%. That's all you'll get out of me, old school audiophiles. I was going to go upstairs and get the new Geshelli Labs J-Nog that's in the wooden box, or the J2. But I'm like, you know what, fuck it, this is already here. Besides, that has to get reviewed next. Because APO sent that to me, and they're like, hey, can you review that? I'm like, oh man, I don't have enough cocaine for the top of it. Man, these sound good. I stand by my recommendation for the 8XX. I do recommend you get these pads, though, because, man, do they finish it off. All right, now I'm at 3 o'clock. That's loud. That's 3 o'clock on low. So, yeah, SMSL made a very ugly, very capable, and very fucking insanely powerful headphone amp that doesn't sound sterile and boring. So... thank you for finally entering the fray. Now you can go on the shelf. You'll also be the shortest one. We're going down in height. Links to this on Aoshita. Thank you, Aoshita, for sending this. Sorry it took so long. I had, issues. Links to the world's best cables. I'm not sure if I'm going to link to the exact ones here, but World's Best is the largest seller of cables on Amazon. with over 3,000 varieties of fucking cable. And I'm not joking, but you can't, like, you don't, like, they don't just pop up. You have to search them, hard search them. Even their store doesn't, like, link properly. Because you can get this cable with this connector, a different connector, and there's like 17 types of cable at 22 different lengths. And it's like, holy shit. So thank you to World's Best for sending me like $2,500 in wires so that I could just be like, I have the wires. I don't have to go buy no more wires. I'll link to this terribly big, fucking hilariously big power cord. Use it for your gaming machine. Tell people it makes you better frames and see if you can convince them of that. That's what audiophiles do, is they basically just try to convince other people that they're crazy should be their crazy, so that their crazy becomes normal. I've realized this in the following months. And now that audio shows are starting back up, I can't wait to be super cynical about everything. Obviously, links to this, links to all the headphones. I'll leave a link to that DAC on APOS, even though it's, again, $3,000. But all DACs sound basically the same. Although I do like Matrix build. Wait till I get to that one. I would have almost reserved the Belfast for that, but this is a price to performance thing, and that matters more to me than if that at $3,000 sounds minutely better than a $2,500 DAC. No. Give me the $400 amplifier that literally can sit next to the $500 and $600 amplifiers, and those have beaten thousands of dollars in amplifiers in the last few years. So this is quality shit. So they get the Belfast. Wallpaper, by the way, available in the description. Patreon, Subscribe Star, Hi-Fi Guides. I was going to give some irreverent website, but I can't right now. What was that one that... There was a really nice Reddit thread that I posted about that had, like, what's websites you wish people visited that they knew about? And I'm going to link it. I remembered. Zeos, get the link for the thing that shows you, like, TV shows from different decades. This is actually a useful link for, like, your parents. Because if you grew up in the 90s or 2000s and you just missed that shit, there's websites that are, like, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. You go there, it's a TV, and you hit go, and there's a list of, like, do you want it to play music videos, trailers, commercials, TV shows, cartoon, and it'll just randomly play them. And you can hit next channel, and it'll change. It's fucking amazing. It's fucking amazing. And it plays them all off of basically YouTube. It just has playlists, and it can reassemble like you're living in that decade. So there, I'll link to that as well. There's no sound demo for this. And so Patreon and Subscribe Star, support this channel. Thank you very much. The cold weather's coming and propane's getting more expensive, and I'd like to not die. So thank you for your support. If you join the $5 tiers, you get to see these reviews early. This particular room might not be on there very long because of the Chewbacca thing and then me being sick, and I sort of had to just hurry the fuck up, get this fucking reviews done. Even though I spent way too much time setting this one up and then recording it. This is what, 40 minutes? For a fucking amp with retro switches. Retro switches? Speaking of retro, that's why I'll link to the retro TV thing. See reviews early. Participate in yard sales. 1st to the 10th of every month. Things that companies send me that I no longer want, but I actually want this. Or that I have too many of, or I can't store. I just like, here, buy this stuff for me, please. Get it out of my house. And bidding starts at $0. Free shipping continental the United States. Half shipping international. If you can't get a product in your country, you buy it on my yard sale, I will ship it to you, but you're paying half that shipping because shipping sucks internationally. Join the $10 tier to get into the behind-the-scenes private Telegram chat where I will answer your questions, because I really can't answer your questions anywhere else. Sometimes I'll answer a question like YouTube comments. Very rarely I'll pop into like public Z reviews or the Discord. But if you really want to know my opinion on something or have me walk you through a process, $10 a month puts you in the behind-the-scenes private Telegram chat, which you also get access to a lifetime swap meet channel where you can sell your gear, buy and sell gear, which is terribly detrimental for everyone's wallet. Worse than even just watching my videos. Because those people will convince you that not only should you buy the thing, you should buy their thing so they can get paid. Yeah, we're good. We're good. Belfast linked in the description. We're good. It felt like a good video. It felt like a real video. And I'm going to eventually have Chewbacca mouse pad. I've decided, I found a picture of her that I took when she was standing at my feet. And I just took the picture and she was so cute. And I'm going to find that picture, I hope, and I'm going to cut her out and I'm going to put her on a mouse pad. So you can just throw that mouse pad on the fucking floor and the cat will be looking up at you. And it's going to be adorable. I'm going to probably cry when I put it there. It's gonna be rough, but it'll be great. She deserves every mouse pad on earth because she's a cat. Holy fuck! When you put a mouse on a mouse pad, but the mouse pad is a cat, that's a shower thought waiting to develop. So yeah, I'm done. Thank you for stopping by. Hopefully getting back to the normal schedule now. See you in 2 days for a new video. And then there's a sound demo channel elsewhere, and a cooking channel, and an unboxing channel, and you could have a non-stop Zeos content fest if you really felt like it. Also, I stream Wednesdays and Sundays on the Twitch. If you just random times in the day, usually late morning through afternoon, like 6 hours long, and I do IRL stuff with the head cam. Just gonna put lights up in my garage. So if you want to watch me do that, and usually have co-hosts who could read chat and pick out certain questions. I'll talk to you there. Anyway, I'm done. I'm done. You're done. Thank you, Belfast. I'll see you all in 2 days, and we'll have another fun time.